We all drive, don't we? I mean, almost all of us drive, don't we? But what does the way you hold your steering wheel say about the way you drive? You probably think nothing, but actually, it reveals an awful lot more than you realise. This is a car. You probably don't like it, but I do, and that's what's important. Like many people who've been driving for years, I believe that my driving is better than everybody else's. That could be incorrect. Let's find out by revealing the facts of where you place your hands on the steering wheel says about your driving. The 10-to-2 position, the classic, the one that we're all supposed to do. It makes sense. You've got a decent grip of the wheel, you're less likely to lose control of the car because you've got hold of the wheel properly. If you do this, nice. Your driving is probably okay, unless you're exceedingly inexperienced or rather clumsy. The 10-to-3 position, also not too bad, although your elbows are going to get in the way slightly of other parts of your body and the car, such as the handbrake, such as the door card, such as your passenger if you have one. Try it with your thumbs out as well if you happen to be into off-roading, and that will always make you assume that you know more about driving because you can drive even when there isn't even a road to go on. The 5 o'clocker, yes, right hand 5 o'clock, other hand anywhere else you want it to be really, a favourite of truck drivers. I know, I used to be one. You're spending all day driving and you don't really want to have the effort of 2 hands on the wheel, far too tiring. So one hand can go off and do whatever else it wants, and the other just has to control the vehicle. It's okay when you're going in a straight line anyway. It's quite a rare one. The 12 o'clock hand-on gear stick thing, often used by minicab drivers in case they need to make an emergency gear change. That's what I was told anyway. Honestly, that's what a minicab driver said to me once when he spent all the time in 4th gear, didn't even bother changing to 5th for some reason, hand-on gear stick. Can you believe I actually asked him why I was doing it? Holding the hands 1/4 to 2. It's ever so slightly off convention, but it's also used by those in very, very expensive high-end cars. Not sports cars, no, things like Range Rovers. Not Range Rover Sports, no, proper Range Rovers and Bentleys and anything British and expensive. That's where I've seen that. Don't know why, don't know what it is about English gentlemen that I'm going to do the face. As soon as I started to do that face, that position worked. So that must be why. Okay, sorry about this. The majority of school mummies sat at traffic lights, moving away from the traffic lights.
Why are you on your phone, madam?
Well, I've got to go and pick the kids up, haven't I? So I've got to have something to do on the way.
The 5-to-1, or at least as close as you can get to 12 o'clock with 2 hands. It's an insecure way of steadying the wheel. You move your arm a little bit and you'll swing around like this. Yeah. If you drive 5-to-1, you're more likely to hit potholes, hit pedestrians, knock into things. None of it's ever going to be your fault. The point being, hands on the wheel like this does not keep the car steady. And even more so if they're stretched out, properly stretched out like that. It's a bit like trying to win a fight by starting off with your arms stretched out like that. You've got nowhere to go. Bad. There is another as well, 5-to-1, but this time with the arms up like that, like a T-Rex. This position is often adopted by older ladies in Nissan Micras. Always an automatic, sat at the traffic lights, going nowhere, both hands on the wheel. Not very relaxed, looks incredibly tense. Again, it's all this focus into one tiny spot, which means that everything else that's going on around is completely ignored. And this is how I think many people manage to have crashes, even when there's no one there to have a crash with. Let's get to what I tend to do, which is anywhere between 25 and 5-to-2. So that is, hand, it can move around like that. One hand steadies the wheel, the other one tends to caress the wheel. Enjoy feeling the steering wheel. You might think that's the incorrect way of doing it, but I think it's a very relaxed way of holding the steering wheel with both hands. And I've never had any problems with it. But then again, I go straight across many roundabouts with there's nothing else there. Have you ever seen anyone drive with just their thumb in the middle of the wheel, just like pressing against the boss there? I mean, that's got to be the worst way of holding the steering wheel, because it's not even holding the wheel. In fact, it's just pressing your thumb against it, which means you've got absolutely no leverage. I mean, I've never seen anybody do this, but I'm just giving an example of how things could possibly get worse, just in case they are somewhere, because often they are. I mean, how often do you look around and see something that you think, that's incredible, how can this person really think that's a good idea? Well, I do it all the time. I'm doing it right now. What about the classic 12 o'clock, elbow on the armrest, looking straight ahead, godless expression, dribbling away? It's the classic boy racer style. And not all boy racers are like that, of course. Some like to go quickly, but do it sensibly. And maybe for a little while, boy racers smartened up and started to do something that looked a little bit less gauntlet, and actually drove better because of it. But a trend has come back of doing exactly this, but not just doing that, but making sure you've got your mobile phone in the other hand. Now, we all know everybody's got Bluetooth these days, so if you want to have a conversation, you can do it still legally through the speakers of your car. And I challenge any of these people that drive around in relatively new Audis to figure out how your Bluetooth works, because you do not need your hand there. Although it's not as simple as that. You see, the 12 o'clock position, mobile phone in the other hand, overtaking everything that you can see in your Audi, is not anything more than a look. That's it. They want you to see them driving around like that because they think that makes them awesome. Not even cool. They don't use the word cool these days, do they? Probably another word I've not even heard of just yet. But that is it. It's an image. An image that you would imagine that anybody else would be completely embarrassed by, but for some reason they think we're going to admire them. When in actual fact, it's only down to the skill of all the other drivers on the roads that stopped them from having a crash and ended up dead. 25 to 5. This is a rather unusual one. I've only ever seen this a couple of times. Now, the kind of person that does this is normally someone that has got their hands upside down and simply can't figure out what it is they're doing wrong. It's not the worst position you can do, but again, you've got all that kind of pivoting at the bottom rather than the top, which is good for reversing a caravan, but not really good for keeping your car steady on the motorway. So when you see somebody suddenly veer off from one side of the road to the other, it's probably because they're driving like that. Or like that. Or like that. Or like that. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye. How would school mums cope if mobile phones disappeared? I mean, what would they do with themselves? It'd be awful, wouldn't it? It'd be a disaster. I feel really sorry for them. Sorry. Is that it? Is that all of the clock positions covered that quickly? Yeah, I reckon. I mean, you could make them some more. You could have, say, for example, 5 past 2. But that'd be stupid, wouldn't it? I mean, even if you weren't crossing your hands over, who'd drive along like that? Who would do it? No, let's not even think about it. Nobody's that stupid. Then again, the world is full of surprises. Another point to cover. Now imagine if the human race had 3 arms rather than 2. Would it be the best thing to do to always have 3 hands on the wheel? Surely 3 is the optimum number for control. Just like the difference between a tripod and a tripod with a leg missing. A tripod with a leg missing is completely useless. So, could it be? There we go, thank you for indicating. Once you have that extra leg or arm, you have infinitely more control. Then think about the tripod.